Dear friends, dear colleagues, good day. According to the World Bank, young people between 15 and 24 years of age are those most affected by unemployment, constituting 60% of all unemployed Africans. Young people between the age of 14 and 35 constitute over 40% of the African population. By 2030, this will have increased to 42% or 750 million young people on the continent. These young people yet live in a continent endowed with a diverse and rich heritage that ranges from the cultural and natural to the immovable, movable, and intangible. Most importantly, the heritage of Africa is also brought to life through the beautiful partnership of nature and culture, where the intangibles give the beautiful partnership of nature and culture, where their meaning to the tangible to both provide Africa with a dynamic cycle of life. While I'm speaking, I want to share with you a quick image so you can be able to picture what we are discussing here. The African heritage has shaped the world through processes such as diffusion, accumulation, influence, as well as through the movement of his artifacts and his talented people. From knowledge and wisdom of his elders, artists, artisans, builders, and musicians, to the rhythm of his drum beats, and in the site of memory, historical sites of work of art, the African heritage is revealed to be a catalyst for growth and transformation. Cultural heritage is a trigger of sustainable development. The African Union Agenda 2063 also highlights the importance of art, culture, and heritage in building the Africa we want. The year 2021 was declared as the year of art, culture, and heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. The declaration of this theme enables the African Union and member states to reflect on the role of culture in the continent development and position the sector in its rightful place. In 2020, ICCROM initiated the Youth Heritage Africa program, which goals to make the heritage of Africa a source of economic and social benefits for all its young people. The program focuses on the economic and social development of youth through innovation, promoting new ways of engaging with heritage and its care, while at the same time fostering intergenerational exchange. Under this new FLASI program, ICCROM is working to establish a new type of creative and interactive initiative called Heritage Hubs. The aim is to link heritage to daily life and ensure that in protecting and promoting it, heritage can also become a source of livelihood for the youth of Africa. ICCROM is doing this by partnering with institutions in different countries to implement various projects and activities that include informing, training, and engaging young people in order to cultivate and broaden horizons. We aspire to create heritage hubs as knowledge-based center that foster youth engagement, entrepreneurship, and business development skills through creative art and partnership. We have partners doing this in Kenya, in Rwanda, in Senegal, and in South Africa. And they are established or being established with various activities. The Hub's agenda goes beyond promoting understanding and appreciation of cultural heritage among young by touching especially on how young people can use heritage to achieve the SDG goals. Dear friends, panelists, during this webinar, we'll dive deeper into the specificity of some of the hubs and how they help leverage local knowledge and expertise to connect young people to real opportunities and ensure the sustainability of activities. My name is Espera Donovosi. I'm a project manager at ICCROM, and I would like to thank you to thank our esteemed panelists and attendees from around the world who have joined this exciting and insightful webinar. I'm delighted to introduce you to the panelists. The first one is Dr. Purity. Please, Dr. Purity. Dr. Purity is a deputy director of National Museum of Kenya. She will speak more about how young people in Kenya are working together with the museums to create sustainable goals, to achieve sustainable goals. And then the next panelist will be our dear Ambassador Robert Masozera from Rwanda. He is the Director General of Rwandan Cultural Heritage Academy. He will be talking about the Heritage Hub in Rwanda. Thank you, Ambassador. The next one will be Mr. Tabo Omumu from South African National Parks. Mr. Tabo, thank you for being here. And then the fourth panelist will be our brother from Kenya as well, Mr. Arafat Mukasa. Arafat Mukasa is a project manager at Swahili Pot, which is partnering with NMK to create Heritage Hub in Kenya. Thank you for being here, Arafat. Before we proceed further, may I share with you some procedure for housekeeping for this webinar. You can send your queries and comments via Q&A section icon that you see at the bottom of the Zoom window. We will take up some questions after the presentation of our panelists. In case we are unable to answer all the questions due to time limits, please do send us an email and we will surely get back to you. So, thank you, and let's start. I would like to give the floor to Dr. Purity to take us through what is happening in Kenya with the youth and heritage. Thank you, Doctor. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Espera, and welcome all the attendees of this webinar. I am currently a Chief Research Scientist at the National Museums of Kenya. Previously, I was the Director of Antiquities, Sites and Monuments. So I just wanted to clarify that before we move along. As Espera has already indicated, Africa is one of the continents with the highest number of the youth, and Kenya is no different in terms of the numbers of the youth that are currently within the country. We have about 61% of our youth, maybe from the ages of 0 to 24 years. And this means that there's what we call a youth bulge within the country. And this has led to most of the youth engaging in some vices, such as being engaged in drugs, theft, prostitution, and even joining some of the groups that are not so good, like terrorism. And this is not good for any country, including the world at large. And we have to find a way of how we can bring them back to energy and having engagements that are meaningful for the economic benefit of themselves, their families, as well as the country and the world at large. So at the National Museums of Kenya, we are all aware that this is the institution that is mandated with heritage, management, protection, and promotion within the country. And I always say that heritage is one sector which has been relegated for a very, very long time, be it in discussions, be it in funding. This is a sector that has been left behind. So I term it as a virgin sector. And what we need to do is now to explore it and exploit, and even bring our youth on board to see how probably they can start being engaged in projects and programs that are meaningful for themselves, and also that can bring economic benefits to their families and also to the country. I'll just take you through some of the things that we've been engaged with at the National Museums of Kenya, as well as some of the other youth groups who have actually shown interest in heritage, and they have done it privately on their own capacity so that they can actually be able to help us manage heritage, but also bring it to the fore in terms of entrepreneurship, and also in terms of coming up with products that actually can earn something for them. And some of the areas probably which I can just touch on is there's a lot of research and training with heritage within the institution. There's also a lot of documentation. And when we talk about the documentation these days, it's mainly digital documentation, which has come on board. And we are working with the partners, including Google Arts and Culture. Amazon had also come on board. And it's the youth who are engaged in this project to digitize what the National Museums of Kenya has. And that project was known as Utamaduni Wetu, Meet the People of Kenya. And there's a link there for those who are interested. Because of time, I can't go into it. Please go at your own will and look and see some of the things that have been done there. About 150,000 collections have already been digitized. I think we've also digitized about 10,500 photographs. We've also been able to do street views and digitized within museums and also sites, about, I think, 90 curated exhibits and also 60 street views. So you can go into a gallery and see some of the things that, at a snapshot of what some of those galleries are. Then we've also had content creation in terms of exhibitions, and these have been virtual exhibitions, and also the youth are also involved with some of the more modern technological innovations, including virtual reality, augmented reality, and digital installation, alongside what we call the traditional more installations. And what this has done is it's given some kind of life into some of these exhibitions. For example, if you look at this exhibition here, you can see that there's some life into it. And later on, before I close, I'll show you some of the digital exhibitions which have been done by the youth. I've also talked a lot about digitization and documentation. There are those privately owned youth groups who have gone and digitized collections at their own will. I think in this webinar, I've seen Viola. I think she's part of this Africa Digital Heritage group that has been able to digitize a lot of collections within some of the institutions in Kenya. A case in example is the Macmillan Library, where they helped them digitize quite a number of the documents going back all the way to 1901. And here is a link. Please go and check them out and see some of the things that they have been able to do. There have also been what we call the creatives, youth groups coming up with narration, storytelling, drama. And I think Arafat, who is also here, will give you some of the things that they are doing at Swahili Pot. But these are just some of the youth groups that we've actually been engaged with. Shujaa Stories have come on board, and they have been able to document some of the heroes in Kenya, and also use the technology and also an outlook which is more attractive to the youth For example, if you look at what they have done in terms of having these shujas or these heroes, they connect more to the youth because they think they look more like what they would want to see. Then there are groups like Historia. Historia is based in Lamu, Old Town, which is a World Heritage Site. And this is a group which has taken upon itself to document some of the stories within Lamu and also some of the in situ or more, some of the buildings and all what is there in terms of heritage. Paukwa is also another group. And this one is mainly in terms of storytelling, especially for the kids. And all these links are there. Please go and check them out and you'll see some of the things that they have done. There are also some youth groups who have come on board and helped the institution with the current debates which are ongoing, right, like restitution, where we need to know what are some of the cultural collections which have been taken away from Kenya and where are they and how can they be brought back. The next collective is a multidisciplinary arts collective in film, music, fashion, visual arts, and literature, but they were able to come on board and work with us, and we were able to identify about 32,000 collections which are held outside in Western institutions. And so the debate is going on how do we bring these. So these are youth groups who have actually taken upon themselves to work with us and also to work on their own to be able to just enhance and advance heritage within the country. In terms of intangible heritage, there are those groups that are using traditional music instruments and also rhythms, and then incorporating them into making modern music or music that can be listened to the youth. And these are some of the things that probably we should be discussing and we'll be discussing moving forward to see how do we then bring the youth in all these. Other areas are visual arts, films are being made, photography, animations, and I'll show you some of those things. I think I want to show you two examples because I don't have a lot of time. I'll begin off by showing you the digital exhibition that was done by a group. And this is, we are calling it the Tokyo House. This was done in relation to the Tokyo Olympics in Japan in 2020. You all understand that the travel restrictions were on board, and so many countries were not able to exhibit on site some of the things that they would have wanted to exhibit. So this group came on board and they did a digital exhibition. They looked at sports, tourism, culture, trade, and just gave a view of what Kenya can offer in terms of even businesses, what opportunities are there, which places can you be able to visit. I like the culture bit because it went all the way to the prehistory time when we start talking about who we are and where do we come from. Our iconic fossil, the Turkana boy, was on the exhibition. You can see it right here. If you click on it, it will give you information on what Turkana boy is all about. And this same fossil, which we call the celebrity fossil in Kenya, was also made, it was brought alive in terms of what we can do with it. If you click on this, you'll be able to see, they were able to animate the fossil from when it started living on land about 1.8 million years ago, making stone tools and also controlling fire. And what they wanted to show was that the fossil could have made the torch, the Olympic torch. And that torch was carried all the way from wherever the fossil was and taken all the way to Japan, to the organizers of the event of the Olympics. So you can see him taking advantage of natural fire, making the torch, and then running with the torch all the way to Tokyo. and presenting it to Osaka, who was one of the, I think, the torch bearers during that time. So in essence, that exhibition brought to the fore what the youth can be able to do in terms of creativity. Let me show you also something else that I think is very, according to me, it's a cool way that the youth can actually be brought on board in terms of heritage. And this is a group of young musicians. I think they are from, there's a group from Tanzania, Uganda, even Rwanda. Director Robert, you'll be interested to see some of what this youth group did. And it was a project which was, I think, I hope you can see.
We can see the video. You can see your screen now.
East Africa, introducing Cultural Heritage Artist Network. Kenya is the best place that you can be. Oh, la, la, la. Beautiful sights and places that you can see. Oh, yeah. Coming to Lamu and for Jesus. Kaya Boros for me, Kenya. Big little finger in me, baby. Mount Kenya, what a movie. Kashimana, Hata, Boros, Kiwangulo, Kula, Africa. But you be seriously. Already watch you. Murukai. Muri, Mutimba. Omutima, Rwanda. Como sazi wa Kigali.
So I hope I've given you a snapshot of some of the things that the youth can be able to deal with. And this is why we want to work with ICCROM and other partners to come up with what we are calling a heritage hub within the coast of Kenya. And Arafat will take you through the Swahili Pot, which is the hub that we'll be using in terms of bringing the youth to the fore. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Purity. Thanks for this exciting presentation. Unfortunately, we could not see the last video played. So I will ask the audience next to check on our YouTube channel, and they can see the link. They can also visualize the video. So to say that young people in Kenya are playing active role in line with the preservation and promotion of cultural heritage within the National Museum of Kenya. They are involved into research, they're involved into training, they're involved to documentation of heritage. They're also involved in creating new and innovative ideas of doing exhibition, and also kind of using digital technologies to give heritage that chance to speak a contemporary language of communication. So thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Purity. Then I would like now to call our dear brother from Kenya, from the Swahili Pot, Mr. Arafat, to tell us what the Swahili Pot is doing together with the NMK in Kenya. Thank you. The floor is yours, Arafat.
Thank you very much, Espera and the larger team from ICCROM for this opportunity for us to be able to share our story. Probably before I could delve in, I hope you can see my screen just to confirm. Please let me know.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect, great. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Arafat Mukasa. I do work at Swahili Pot Hub Foundation, which is the base for the Swahili Pot Heritage Hub based in Kenya. So, yeah, this is what I'm gonna go to. This is what I will go through within the shortest time possible, hopefully in the next 5 to 6 minutes. And Next is about Swahili Pot Hub. So Swahili Pot Hub, it's a community space. And ever since our founding back then in 2016, much of the work that we do to be able to empower youth has mostly been focused on technology, creative and arts, as well as heritage. Though in terms of like heritage, it's mostly been regarding performing and visual arts, but also looking forward to explore other aspects of our cultural heritage, now based of this partnership with the National Museums of Kenya, as well as ICCROM. And the origin story of Swahili Pot Hub Foundation is actually not even full without getting to mention National Museums of Kenya, who have been our very, very strongest supporters. So at Swahili Pot, in terms of the high level, what we do is we provide a co-working space. I'll take you through a virtual tour very fast. We also do offer programs and various activities that run throughout the year in creatives, technology, as well as heritage, as well as linkages to other partners, prospective clients. This is mostly for the youths, because at Swahili Pot, we majorly get to focus on the youths. So this is a virtual tour of the space. I'll do a brush through this. So it's a physical space. That is the community space. That is the co-working space. That is the boardroom where I'm currently based. That is the patio, and then the multi-purpose hall, and now the amphitheater that is currently undergoing landscaping, courtesy still of the National Museums of Kenya. And now into some of highlighting some of the activities that we've done that are related or have a relation to heritage. First would be the Modern Heritage of Africa that we hosted last year in partnership with ICCROM, National Museums of Kenya, as well as other bodies, both from Africa and as well as abroad. And here we looked at performing arts, visual arts, as well as performing arts as well as visual arts, and getting to understand what is the relationship between modern heritage as well as traditional heritage. For example, case in point, if you look at the relationship between performing arts, what is the difference between our Tarab? We used Swahili culture as a case study. What is the difference between modern Tarab and traditional Tarab? Is it the rhythm? Is it the instruments that are used? Is it the dance and all that? So those are some of the images from that workshop. And then the other we have is a Pwani Innovation Week, where we have our youths that are running businesses coming in and getting to showcase their products to a number of invited guests from academia, private sector, government, civil society at large. So the next edition will be happening from the 28th to the 31st of March. The website is over there. But then why is this important when it comes to heritage? I understand as we get to implement various programs and activities under the Swahili Pot Heritage Hub, these youths need opportunities. Youths who are doing heritage related, say, businesses, they need opportunities where they can come and showcase their products and services. And Pwani Innovation Week is one of those platforms. And then at the end of the Pwani Innovation Week, we also do have what is known as the Pwani Got Talent. So we have performing artists, we have comedians, poets coming to showcase, entertain the audience, as well as get to compete for a prize. And then the other program that we run as Swahili Pot is known as the Global Opportunity Youth Network. There's quite a lot that we do, but in relation to heritage, there is a program we're implementing to be able to train and place more than 400 opportunity youths into jobs. We're also doing work around policy and advocacy, such as looking into which are the best ways of the government to provide funding to creatives. And then the other is to be able to strengthen the ecosystem, such as setting up working groups on culture and heritage, working groups on culture and heritage, as well as a multi-stakeholder advisory group. And then Pitching Thursday, this is where we have individuals, including creatives, coming to share their business stories. In return, they are capable of getting feedback from a panel of judges, as well as be able to meet our prospective partners and clients. And then we also get to offer business training and mentorship. That is in partnership with some of the stakeholders we work with in the ecosystem. We also get to host hackathons. We haven't hosted any hackathon yet on heritage, but this is something that we expect to do before the end of this year. So, for example, like which would be the best way of engaging youths into heritage matters, and also tackling some of the challenges regarding heritage. Info sessions around mostly business funding. So for youths that are running culture, arts, and creative related businesses, when we get to hear of funding or entrepreneurship related programs that are of benefit, we get to host our known as info sessions to guide them on how they can successfully apply and get to secure those funding opportunities. And then the other is Friday Poetry, where we have various creatives coming and not only entertaining the audience, but also getting to educate based on certain themes. And then All Creatives Affair, where we get to invite seasoned professionals as well as experts to talk to the creatives. Theater Zone, Dr. Purity mentioned about movies, about documentaries. So in partnership as well with the Theater Zone group, one of the plans that we have, hopefully by next year, is at least to have a movie or a documentary on heritage. And then Costo, every Sunday we get to have a radio show where we get to showcase the Swahili culture. Now, to delve into the specifics of the Swahili Pot Heritage Hub, we're looking at this being able to benefit youths not only from Mombasa, but also the broader East African region. It's an opportunity for them to get to have a deep understanding of how they can be able to leverage on heritage to build businesses, as well as have a meaningful life out of the Heritage Hub. So some of the, these are the objectives that we're looking at. One is to be able to share knowledge and create awareness through workshops. The other is to be able to provide an opportunity for youth to be able to diversify into various heritage products. Find that majority of youths are mostly, say, for example, into visual or performing, but also being able to get to showcase them about what are the other opportunities that exist for them. And then the other is to be able to enhance on the visibility of various heritage products. Say, for example, like if someone is not capable to come to Mombasa and visit Fort Jesus, which is a World Heritage Site, how can they be able to experience that remotely wherever they are, using such technologies such as virtual reality? So some of the activities that we're looking at this year, for example, matters around education. So this is mostly training workshops, outreaches to high schools, and also being able at least to have a couple of stakeholders involved in matters around heritage. And also Espera and Dr. Purity mentioned around matters regarding research. So we have mapped out a number of heritage sites along the coastal region to start with, that we would like to digitize using some state-of-the-art technologies such as NFTs, which are known as non-fungible tokens, virtual reality, so that individuals who will be able to come decades later, they can be able to see, say, for example, like, this is how this particular heritage site, say, for example, like Fort Jesus used to look like today. And this is how, say, for example, the environment has been able to evolve over time. And then be able to translate a number of heritage resources into viable economic products. With all this work that we're doing around the Swahili Pot Heritage Hub, one of the key goals we're looking at is to ensure that youths are capable of getting meaningful lives out of heritage, starting businesses, or even getting jobs as a result of heritage. So some of the expected outcomes are youths starting business enterprises, partnerships to be able to have more youths and stakeholders involved in heritage, matters around conservation of heritage. Unfortunately, like around last year, the city of Liverpool lost one of their heritage sites because of the development around that area. So this is something that we don't want such a thing like that to happen. Say, for example, like losing some of the World Heritage sites that we have. So we shall as well be doing some sort of like we shall be critically watching and monitoring and studying all these heritage sites, so that to ensure we don't lose the opportunity, we don't lose sort of like some of the heritage sites that are listed, the heritage sites that are listed by the UNESCO, that are on the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, they don't get to lose that marking, and also be able to get more youths excited matters relating to heritage, by getting to showcase to them opportunities around heritage, as well as getting more stakeholders involved in heritage matters. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Those are our contacts, and also that is my email over there. Over to you, Espera.
Thank you so much, Arafat. And then you have shown clearly that NMK is not only giving opportunity to young people to work with them, but actually they are giving space and more opportunities for you to really have a vibrant and transform heritage into something very contemporary. And then you also show clearly that in heritage field, the intangible gives meaning to the tangible, and they both provide Kenya heritage this kind of a beautiful cycle of life. And then you also mentioned clearly that contemporary art, performing art, innovation are key area that you are using to really develop and promote the sector in Kenya. And you have not stopped there. You have planned so many things that will happen this year. And then your focus is on education. Your focus is on research and digital technologies, and your focus is also on business and entrepreneurship, which all are in line with the ICCROM program, Africa program. So thank you so much, Arafat. And then can you please share your screen? And then I'll give the floor to our next panelist from Rwanda. I would like to call upon Ambassador Robert Masozera, the Director General of Rwandan Cultural Heritage Academy. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, moderator, for giving me this floor to talk about the Rwanda Heritage Hub. But before that, let me thank ICCROM for organizing this webinar, and especially for inviting me as one of the panelists. Let me try to share my, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see your PowerPoint.
Thank you. Moderator, the Rwanda Heritage Hub is defined by three key words. I don't know if we are on the same page. Excuse me. Okay, here we are. So the Rwanda Heritage Hub is defined by three key words: youth, heritage, and technology. It focuses on youth empowerment and engagement in cultural heritage through digital technologies and business development. That's the reason why we define our Heritage Hub as a capacity building center that aims to empower and engage youth in heritage conservation and promotion, and in developing innovative business through digital technologies. The vision of the Rwanda Heritage Hub is to become a center of excellence for innovation, the use of digital technologies for cultural heritage management to make sure that Rwanda's cultural heritage is valorized and that value is instilled in the minds of youth in a sustainable manner using strategic communication platform. With that vision in mind, let me now tell you the objective that we want to achieve with this hub. I will only mention the following 4 main objectives. Number 1 is to inspire youth by using cultural heritage content to foster entrepreneurship, innovative business through digital technologies, and number 2, to raise awareness and sensitize youth about Rwanda cultural heritage while building a sense of ownership and pride in consuming locally made related to cultural heritage. And also to develop creative products that engage youth in the preservation and promotion of cultural heritage while creating income-generating jobs. And lastly, also, we intend to contribute to the professionalization of cultural heritage practitioners in order to foster a new generation of leaders and practitioners committed to culture. In order to achieve these objectives, the Rwanda Heritage Hub will work on the following 3 interconnected areas of actions: in cultural heritage related business development, in capacity building and training, and in creation of communication platform. In cultural heritage related business development, this will be done through a well-equipped lab. We want to establish a laboratory for the ideation and incubation of new products and business models, which will provide practical courses and which will organize annual competition and reward, of course, the best innovative projects. In capacity building and training, the Rwanda Heritage Hub will undertake training activities in heritage management, in cultural heritage knowledge, and in digital literacy, and will provide also practical trainings on project development and entrepreneurship. Capacity building and training is the core mission actually of this hub. And in the area of creation of a communication platform, we, in order to raise awareness of cultural heritage values among young people, the hub will develop a communication strategy and program, which will include activities such as social events. Here we mean example festival or gatherings. We organize farm trips, familiarization trips of the youth at the museums or at the heritage sites. We organize also meetings and events to promote synergy between sectors. Also, youth recreation centers and social media and web platforms. And all these activities will be hosted or organized at our national museums and heritage sites that we have across the country. The Heritage Hub in Rwanda has local partners and stakeholders from different fields in public sector. For example, line ministries like Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education, but also affiliated institutions like the Rwanda Heritage Academy, which is affiliated to the Ministry of Culture. In private sector also, private sector federation, corporate enterprises, and also in we have also IT agencies, but also another stakeholder which is very, very important is Rwanda Art Council and its federation. These are art federation, which have also unions, of course, education institutions, universities, high learning institutions, schools, but also local government, at the district level, where we have these recreation centers and local communities. And we will work also with the diplomatic missions accredited here in Rwanda. Regarding its implementation and coordination framework, the hub will be under the management of the Rwanda Heritage Academy, which is a public institution with a mandate to preserve the national heritage. And this hub will also be housed actually within the academy under the direction of the Director General. But the hub will be coordinated by the team composed of staff from different divisions of the academy and with the advisory support of ICCROM. So day-to-day activities will be carried out by a project manager assisted by an ICT specialist and junior staff and interns. As I conclude, moderator, let me outline here the results we hope to achieve. In the first 2 years of implementation, because the first 2 years will function as a pilot phase from which revision can be made in the long term. So this is the success indicators for the first 2 years, which are as follows. 2 cycles of incubation laboratory will be carried out, in which at least 50 young professionals will be trained. And in this lab, at least 4 up to 6 new heritage-related business will be incubated, and 4 up to 6 awards will be given. And 20 cultural heritage practitioners and 30 young will acquire digital skills in heritage management. 4 exhibitions will be held in museums, and 4 virtual events will be organized. So there will be also 4 internship and 4 scholarship for young professionals. And we will organize 4 familiarization trips, and 4 meetings will be also organized with other sectors. And we want also to organize 10 events at the district level, and 10 communication channels will be created. And a network of the hub will be established because we want interns to be involved in other hub activities. So, moderator, that is all that I have to say about the hub in Rwanda. We very much hope that the vision of the hub to become an innovation center of excellence in the use of digital technologies for cultural heritage management will be realized. Thank you for your attention, moderator.
Thank you so much, Director. We could easily notice that the hub is being established under the Rwandan Cultural Heritage Academy, which is under that of the Ministry of Culture and Youth in Rwanda. And then what is important to notice that the hub is working in collaboration with the Art Federation, which means that creativity and contemporary arts are also brought together here to help young people to take to next level the heritage in Rwanda. Sorry. But I also noticed that there's a strong focus on business development. There's also a strong focus on gathering communities and taking youth to the heritage sites, which is very important to what we are doing. And then I will not take too much of the time of summarizing what you said. We go back to the discussion and we go further to understand what else we can understand from that. And then I will go to South Africa from here on. I'd like to give the floor to our brother, Mr. Thabo Humumu. Thabo Humumu is a General Manager for Cultural Heritage at South African National Park. He's based in Johannesburg. Thabo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Espera, and good afternoon to all those that spoke before me, and thank you for the inspiring presentations. I am based in Pretoria, or Tshwane, Espera, not Johannesburg, just nearby. I will be talking here representing the South African Hub, which is based at the University of Cape Town. With this hub, we have several partners that are involved. These are University of Cape Town as the leading partner. Then we have got ourselves South African National Parks. We have the South African Heritage Resources Agency, and we also have ICCROM Museums of Cape Town, supported by ICCROM and the African World Heritage Fund. So you will see that my presentation, although I'm speaking on behalf of the South African Hub, in terms of the examples of what we are already doing, it will be limited to the contribution and role of South African National Parks, which is where I am. So this is a very new hub, and we have in the last year made some milestones or achieved some milestones. And one of those is having the agreement signed between ICCROM and the University of Cape Town. We also now have the hub fully constituted within the university as an accredited research center. And the terms of reference of the hub board of directors are in draft, and they are to be ratified by representatives of those hub partners, which I have mentioned. We have already in this year started having webinars as the South African Hub, and we are already planning to have one of the field schools that are planned, and this will be taking place at one of our national parks and heritage site, which is called the Mapungubwe Cultural Landscape. So although I'm still going to talk more about what we will be doing as the hub, what we will do in the field trip is that we take a group of young people who we open up our heritage sites and they explore them, because the approach of this hub is to have a mind shift and move away from thinking for the youth and rather allowing the youth to think for themselves. So we open up our spaces, we give them the opportunity to come up with their own proposals, because I think our youth, given a chance, they are very creative. So we need to, as our approach, move away from thinking that we will think for them and say, yeah, the opportunities. We seem to find that when they come up with opportunities and we give them an ear and an opportunity, it works better that way, because it is something that they have come up with and they are committed to it. So the objectives of this hub, one of them is to conduct fundamental research and translate it into policy and entrepreneurial outcomes. So as much as we want to focus on entrepreneurship, we believe that it should be linked with academic input as well. So that is why we are linking the research element with the practical element that the other partners will be bringing to UCT and the hub in general. We also want to research and promote opportunities for the youth to use cultural heritage for socio-economic development, as well as entrepreneurship and employment creation. And we want to be creating programs that are centered on field experience. I've been talking about this. I've just spoken about this with the example of the trip that we'll be doing, the field trip or training in Mapungubwe, where we are training on the field. Why are we doing this? And from the South African National Parks point of view, as an organization, we are very much aware, as you have heard in his opening address, Espera was talking about the rate of unemployment. In South Africa, our statistics South Africa reported by end of 2021 that we are sitting at an unemployment rate generally of over 35%. And when you dig deep into the youth, that is between 15 and 24, that is over 67%. It's a very unsustainable situation. So when we look at that, that's when we realize that as parks and as cultural heritage, we can't continue to function without checking our relevance on issues that are societal, like unemployment. So we need to make sure that whatever we do is also aimed at responding to societal issues. So with that, we start looking at new ways of empowering youth to play a role in their own as well as the livelihoods of the society they live in. And most of our parks, except a few, are located in rural areas where unemployment is even higher than in some of the areas. And we believe that our parks cannot continue to function as normal when they are surrounded by such mass unemployment, especially of the youth, as well as the resultant social problems. There are many social problems that result from this. I think Purity in our presentation did mention some of these as they experienced them in Kenya, but the situation is the same here in South Africa as well. So as South African National Parks, we believe that youth entrepreneurship presents great opportunities to make that difference in reducing unemployment as well as improving livelihoods. So within national parks, we have recently adopted a socio-economic transformation strategy. And we also have a fully fledged division that will be implementing this strategy so that it is mainstreamed within the organization. And in everything that we do, we need to our officials and everyone involved to understand that we have to work towards the socio-economic empowerment of our society. And that strategy calls, among other things, for the development and enabling of local enterprises in participating in economic activities that are available around national parks. And this is done through skills training, access to funding, mentoring, as well as incubation. We also support entrepreneurs, including, by things like including them in local procurement, and we assist them with product development, as well as linking them with market opportunities. As I just said, our approach is to create an enabling environment. So we want the youth to be the ones who bring their creativity, and ours should be to open up and give them the space and the support that will enable them to take those opportunities into real programs that they can implement and benefit from. When you engage youth, you always get them coming up. When they look at the heritage that we have around the parks, they always come up with suggestions for various opportunities. So ours is to listen to them and see how these ideas that they have can be translated into practice. And there are many opportunities that come up from our own thinking, as well as talking to the youth. And some of these include things like cultural heritage tours and trails, where you can have young entrepreneurs marketing and bringing their own groups into the park, and we support them to do guided tours and charge those that are participating. And some of these will include visiting heritage sites, and we make sure that those heritage sites are ready to receive and are in a conservation state where they can receive visitors, and the youth can therefore benefit from that. They also opportunities like research education tours. For example, you have times when you have ongoing research in the park, and you can bring groups that are paying to come and experience it. Things like archaeological excavations. So these are opportunities that some of the youth, especially those are in graduate programs, will be suggesting, and it is something that we look at in a positive way for us to be able to support. Things like cultural performances, where some propose to come and do traditional dances at our tourist camps, traditional foods and crafts, as well as other art. And we also have public-private partnerships in our national parks, things like business concessions in restaurants, in lodges, as well as in tour guiding. And from our socioeconomic strategy, the focus is that whenever we implement those, we need to make sure that there is a youth element that comes out very strong. Some of the examples of the things that have been happening, as national parks, we are not only looking at cultural heritage because we operate within natural and cultural heritage. We have already started implementing programs that are aimed at establishing and promoting wildlife entrepreneurs, and this is where you have animals that are donated from national parks into community lands, which are packaged as nature reserves at community, and they are community owned. And you have this operating as a commercial wildlife enterprises. And there is a lot of opportunities there in terms of trophy hunting. We don't hunt within national parks, but we are not against the idea, because we believe that hunting done properly can also be contributing, and it does, at least in the case of South Africa, to conservation of the very same species that are being hunted. So there are opportunities that we have had some very good successes in terms of wildlife entrepreneurs. Things like upscaling of street food vendors into formal restaurants. There are some successes that one can mention. There is also, as a way of an example, around our famous Kruger National Park, there was a youth who came to our socioeconomic transformation officials with the suggestion of an app where he wanted to advertise and sell products from around 200 women who were doing crafts and just stationed all over in the boundaries of the national park. So they don't have to be physically meeting the visitors that are coming. The visitors, through us promoting that app, can be able to browse through some of the products that are available, and through linkages via the app they can order. So Sandparks was very happy to promote such an app as part of our socioeconomic upliftment. We are also working on other projects, and some of these have slowed down since COVID. They should have been at implementation stage but now, which is why I'm calling them into the future, where we are in some of the communities, especially around Kruger in the western boundary. We are constructing incubation hubs as well as business hubs. This is where those entrepreneurs can come and have an environment which enables them to function. Those that need Wi-Fi and they don't have it where they are, they can actually come and log in and function from those kind of hubs. And we also working with other private sector partners in mentorships, as well as supporting product development. So these are some of the initial things that we are doing. But as the South African Hub, the work, as I indicated, is not limited to what I just presented from South African National Park. You have got projects that are already being defined for, which are backed by ICCROM Museum, which are backed by South African Heritage Resources Agency. And as we launch the hub, we will be bringing some of these projects into line as well. Back to you, Espera.
Thank you so much, Tabo. If you can share your screen, then we can proceed. I can also just say something that come out very strongly in your speech. Is like we should stop thinking for young people and let them express their own creative thinking, and then we may give them places and spaces for them to transform or to put this into practice. So I can also see clearly that with UCT and many partners involved into this particular hub, the focus is also on education and research, and most importantly on entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, Tabo, for your presentation. And then maybe now we can see if there are some questions, and we can open the floor to some questions, and then we can. The first question I have is on people are asking, are there perspectives of synergy and complementarity among the hubs? And the question is for all. The question is for all the panelists. One question I also have I'm receiving here is like, how can the hubs work can be used as best or good practices to inspire similar actions in Africa and largely outside their own location right now? So maybe I can ask my panelists if anybody want to give up quickly. Arafat, you want to speak? I'll give you, please be very short, go straight to the point, because we are running out of time. We have only 20 minutes left before we close. Thank you, Arafat.
Thank you very much, Espera. So yeah, there is a lot of ways that we can be able to synergize. And one of those could be in terms of sharing intelligence, that what works, what doesn't work, also getting to share opportunities among ourselves. Over to you, Espera.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think from the presentations which have already been made, it's clear that all the hubs have something in common. And so we will be drawing those synergies in terms of making sure that whatever works in Kenya and can work in Tanzania or Uganda or wherever should also be shared. I think also in terms of best practices, even as much as we are saying that we give the youth the opportunity to tell us what they want, we still have to keep at the back of our mind that with heritage, there are those standards that we still have to keep even as we move forward. So those will be shared even as we engage with the youth and even as we give them the opportunities to express how they want to move forward. Those best practices still have to be kept intact.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maybe I just stay with you, Dr. and ask you this one question. Yes, cultural heritage represents nowadays one of the most important global industries and is substantial economic benefit for host countries, region, and local community. And can you please share with us, like quickly, how you think young people are key agents in adding innovative values to heritage protection and promotion sector in Kenya? Apart from what you present, can you give us a broad, more general idea of how you see this happen? Is it clear as a question, or should I?
Repeat again. I don't know exactly what is it. I guess I don't know. I think it's the same things that we've already talked here in details. But more specifically, I would still say that even moving away from looking at heritage in terms of the industrial economic benefit, we still have to recognize that cultural heritage is what we inherit. And that is our legacy and memories. And I would not put a price into something like that in terms of the pride, the identity, and just bringing people together. So even as we move along to bring on board entrepreneurship and other related businesses, let's first have that as the key area in terms of how heritage brings or grounds humanity, and then now move on and see what are the opportunities that heritage can give. If you are talking in terms of research and training, like for example, if you look at the National Museums of Kenya, right now we have over 70 PhD professionals who have gone through because of heritage. You have others who have done masters, over 100 professionals with masters. So there is that opportunity of training in different fields, whether it's conservation, whether it's architecture, whether it's arts, whether it's maybe even in terms of sociology. So there are all those fields that people can train in using heritage, and then they can create or develop a career out of it. Then when you move into things like practices, the creativities, the arts, music, drama, all those are things that you draw from the heritage that you have within the country. And then obviously tourism, and also now what we are talking in terms of small enterprises and businesses. So there's a whole lot of opportunities within heritage. And this is what we need to tell our youth, that they should not only look at the hard sciences, that heritage has quite a lot of opportunities.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pretty. There are many questions coming from our audience. And then I would like to give the floor first to Tabo. That SANPAC is known and appreciated for connecting national parks to local communities what's the role of these local communities and especially the youth in the management and the future of the national park? Or what do the national park do for the development provision for opportunities to the communities?
Thanks, Espera. Our situation in South Africa is even more relevant to that question because most of our national parks, which were established during the dark times of apartheid, were established at the back of removing communities that were living in those areas. So you have communities that are living on the borders of national parks. So, and those communities have got historic connections to the national parks, which brings us then to the whole issue of cultural heritage, because most of that cultural heritage that we find in national parks is directly associated with the communities that are living nearby. So we then have forums where we engage with culturally associated communities, which are the direct owners of some of this cultural heritage. And in terms of even events that we do, the communities are at the center of that. And some of these are things that are proposed by the communities. And when we do interpretation, we don't just say we are, the trained ones and we go and lock ourselves in boardrooms and write up narratives. So we have those communities giving us their own view and explanation as well as interpretation, and it is fully integrated in that. And we also have management structures where the communities are allowed to give input. Interestingly, I don't know where else it's done, but I'm sure it's done in other areas. When we develop our own park management plans, there is a very serious input by our stakeholders, including the communities. So the issue of what can we do for them, as you heard in my presentation, we open up opportunities, and you have even the youth groups. Right now, there is a trend in South Africa where you have your young people who move from one area to another, doing biking as well as hiking, walking trails. So we offer them those opportunities because some of them have turned them into entrepreneurship opportunities where they bring their own paying guests, and we make sure that those that want to visit heritage sites, as well as those that just want to be in nature, the environment is conducive to them. So we manage with them in terms of most of the things that we are doing. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I have some other questions coming up, and I will give it to Robert Masozera. And then the question is about how you work with people from audience, like with no formal education. And then how do you use local language to engage youth in promoting heritage sites? So I just put together two questions for you from the audience that I'm seeing from the chat box. How do you work with people with no formal education, and how do you use local language to engage youth in heritage site? Thank you.
We have outreach programs. We directed to this segment of the population. In fact, we have within our museums program like technical traditional centers where the target group are vulnerable people without really formal education. So they come and they learn these basic traditional skills. So they are not really excluded. So we manage this through different outreach programs and so this is how we do, and it works really good out. So, and in all different museum and historical sites. So this is the biggest, the majority of our, not the majority of our visitors, but a good part of them are people really without formal education.
Thank you so much. We have so many questions coming up, and then I would like to do some selection. I'm sorry, guys, we're not able to reply to all your questions, but we may continue our discussion via email later on. So one question is also, the last one I'm receiving now is also related to what you just said now. And they say definitely local languages will be used as a very important communication tool, but also, and importantly, will be one of the cultural heritage components to focus on and assess how youth may come in with digital innovative. I think this is more like a comment than a question. So let's see, I'm not seeing any question from the chat. No. But I can also give the floor to Arafat if you may want to add something.
Yes, Espera, do you have a question to me, or I can just literally get to comment based off some of the questions that were asked?
Yeah, the question I have for you is like, how do you sustain your program activities as a non-for-profit Swahili Pot Hub?
All right, sure. Swahili Pot Hub, a foundation, was founded in 2016. And for the 4 years that we've been operational, we have done that without donor funding. It was actually last year in August that we secured our first grant, right? But before that, and of which majority of what I have got to showcase, 95 to 98% of what I got to present, most of those activities that I've showcased over there, we've been able to run them without a donor funding. So which implies that we have been able to do a lot with literally less or even no funding at all, right? So and that is really something that we're very good at. And what does that imply? It does imply that we are sustainable. But how have we been able to run some of these programs and activities? So case in point is that for some activities that we host, right, we get to charge a very small fee. And this is mostly, say, for example, if you're talking an activity like Friday Poetry, right? Those who coming to entertain and educate the audience are poets. And at the end of the day, they need to be able to earn from that activity that they have hosted, right? And actually that money goes to those creatives, right? But then the other model that we get to look at is that for the events that we run, for the activities that we run, we look for a sponsor who then gets to be acknowledged during an activity. And that has also made our programs and activities to be sustainable. So that is literally how we've been able to sustain most of our activities, right?
Thank you. Then maybe I'll stay with you again. And there's a question from Kenya. Like you can see, Swahili Pot is based at Fort Jesus. And do you have planned to expand your activities to the other region of Kenya? As somebody was asking this question in the chat as well. How do you have planned to respond? Yeah.
The question is not whether do we have plans, but the other response is that that is something that we are already implementing, you know. So case in point, so Kenya, the way it is structured administratively is that there are 47 counties, right? And Mombasa is one of those 47 counties. That is where Swahili Pot Hub is based. And within Mombasa, there are 6 sub-counties. And Swahili Pot is based in a sub-county known as Mvita constituency, right? But then there have been cases because most organizations have been coming to Swahili Pot to benchmark. And the question has been, how about youths who cannot come to where Swahili Pot is? And something that we are implementing right now, we haven't launched, is something known as a Youth Hub Network. So this is something that we're currently implementing in Mombasa, but once successful, it's something that would like to scale to other parts of Kenya. And we are actually doing this in partnership with the Global Opportunity Youth Network. And the way that model works is that we have identified youth spaces around Mombasa. These are areas where youths get to converge and engage in meaningful activities. So some of the key aspects we're looking at is at least there has to be a physical space where youths can be able to come together, right? And now part of the support we want to offer to those youth spaces are things such as internet connectivity, be able to provide them with their computer devices, right? So that they don't have to come to Swahili Pot. The same activities that happen at Swahili Pot can be able to happen in other parts of the world. So that is something that we're experimenting in Mombasa and looking forward to scaling that across the country.
Thank you so much, Arafat. Thank you so much, panelists. I think we are running out of time. We not have enough time to answer all the questions. And I would like to take this opportunity to mention that ICCROM has fully committed itself towards addressing the global issue in various programs. And we would like to support young people and communities in getting them involved in not only in the management, but also taking advantage of the heritage. Before I conclude this webinar, I would like to express to you all the panelists my gratitude, and also our organizing committee here at ICCROM that has been working hard to bring these webinars to you under these exceptional circumstances. We also thank all the attendees for the question and also raising important comments on what we are doing. And yes, one of the aspects of these hubs is to find a way of managing knowledge. So what is happening in Kenya, what is happening in Senegal, what is happening in Rwanda and South Africa should be documented and serve as lesson learned or serve as model for other countries or other situations to put this into practice. We would like to say that this webinar is being recorded and it will be online on our YouTube channel. And any other information about ICCROM ledgers can be found on our website, on our platform. Our next webinar will take place on the 24th of February, and it will be intensive at ICCROM, inspiring our future. So friends, thank you so much for your time, and please be safe. Goodbye.